You are listening to Paper and Vices, a very special episode of Paper and Vices, being that it is the first episode that we have recorded in the same room together since we started the podcast over a year ago. In August of 2021, Lee came up to see me so we could attend the Alanis Morissette and Garbage concert together. A great time was had, and we decided to record an episode the night before. Unfortunately, this meant we were using a different setup, and we didn't realize until Lee was already safely back in Florida that there were some issues with sound quality. So this episode and next week's episode aren't quite up to our normal standards, but after listening to them, we really felt like the content was still worth releasing. So please, the four of you, that every time you hit your own speed button and mess up your own recording, email me to tell me the sound isn't perfect. I appreciate your love, but this time, we know, and we hope you enjoyed these episodes. We will be back to our normal recording setup in 2 weeks. We want to talk with you about the books that feed your imagination and the vices that spark your soul.
We drink, we curse, we read things. Come sit by us. Expect no judgment, just good times.
Welcome to Paper and Vices. Books reviewed, vices indulged.
Mature content warning.
Every time you say that now, I want to say books reviewed, vices indulged. And I don't know why, because it says that in our intro.
But it's a cool fucking phrase, though.
It is. I came up with it when I was drunk. Drunk me is very clever.
Yeah.
He also was really giggly and talked about dicks a lot. Guess who's usually drinking while we're recording? Everyone. The answer is everyone.
The answer's everyone.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fucking fantastic. How are you?
Second glass of wine.
Yes. And it's not just a small glass of wine.
No, you poured it.
I did.
You're slightly heavy-handed.
I have heard that that's the case.
You're not as heavy-handed as the Valkyrie, though.
I don't think she's ever poured me. No, she has to have poured me a glass of wine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just not thinking it's okay.
I can see in my mind, like, memories of her wearing our glasses. Because here's the thing, when she's a few glasses in, she doesn't ask. If no one's driving, she just pours.
Just because why wouldn't you continue drinking?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Usually when we get together with the Valkyrie, we save all the empty bottles of wine.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. There's a lot of empty bottles by the end of the
Last
weekend.
time we went for 2 nights and it was like 7 empty bottles.
Yeah. There were a few more of us, though. I think we had like 2 other people. No, 1 other people.
We went through 4 bottles on the first night and it was only the 3 of us playing Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, that's true. There might have been some edibles, too.
Yes. Yes, and then there was Star Trek. I don't know what you do on your adult vacations, but you're not as cool as us. This time there's going to be editables and Brendan Fraser movies.
Yes.
God, yes. We're probably going to end up doing just a whole episode about how we love Brendan Fraser and also edibles.
Because those 2 things go really well together.
I mean, what would Brendan Fraser not go well with? Yeah, certain political movements that I can see him being a part of. Other than that, I got nothing. He would make everything more delightful.
We haven't really talked about on this episode what we're drinking except for that it's wine.
Spoiler alert. We're still sitting in my office recording 2 episodes in one night.
We are.
Working through a bottle of dragon wine.
Yes, it's got a dragon on it.
We're closer to the end now. So if you listen to episode 23 and then episode 24, you can hear us getting closer to the bottom of the bottle. Do it just to feel alive. Oh god, I was letting
I'm dancing. They can't see that, but I'm dancing.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
We're good. What are you reading?
So I read more than 1 book a week, so this doing 2 episodes at once thing works for me. I just started reading not a fiction book. As far as I'm aware, this book has no penises.
Yet.
Touche. I hope it has no penises. It's written by a former pediatrician. It's called The Bad Food Bible by Erin Carroll. Why You Can and Maybe Should Eat Everything You Thought You Couldn't. And I'm not even halfway through it yet, but I really like how basically the entire intro talks about how nobody understands or aggregates study data correctly. And so, like, no one really looks deep enough to try and understand what they're talking about. And we look at food as a way to basically keep ourselves from dying or getting sick, which is interesting. And the first chapter is called Butter, and it has a stick of butter with angel wings, which, not gonna lie, I'm considering getting tattooed on my ass.
I was actually just thinking that would make a really good tattoo.
I am fat. I was born fat. I'm gonna die fat. It's okay. And a stick of butter on my ass would be hilarious. I would have to wait long enough that my husband, who's our sound guy, forgets about this episode. So one day he just pushes me down on my knees and then there's a stick of butter on my ass. Because that would be a great moment in my life.
I just snorted.
Yeah. You can hear us getting closer to the bottom of the bottle of wine. So anyway, yeah, it's about how food isn't evil. Probably
No, it's not.
probably not recommended for vegans. What are you reading?
Actually, after a couple episodes ago, you spoke about Fly with the Arrow, which is the blue beard thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered that I had an Audible credit.
Nice.
And I was like, I think I know what I'm going to do with that credit. And so I downloaded it. And chapter 6, I think, after she's whisked away.
Yeah.
And no, it's pretty cool so far. And I don't know where it's going to go other than what you said about it, which is kind of nice. Like, I like that it's not super hyper predictable and it can kind of go a couple different directions. And so it's definitely piqued my curiosity. And the narrator on it is not displeasing to listen to.
Oh,
like, she does a good job narrating it. Like, she's not hyper dramatic like some Audible author or narrators. Yeah, they just exaggerate too much. And
I can't listen to you read something with more energy than I have right now, or I'm gonna be tired.
Yes. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. So no, she's doing a good job so far. So, and the book is really cool. Like, I'm intrigued so far.
I really like her world building, how she doesn't overload you with details, but she definitely sets the vibe. Yeah.
I can see that so far.
Yeah. So now you get to impatiently wait with me for the second book in the series.
Yes.
Which is a thing we do together.
Yep.
So we're currently also waiting for The Last Graduate, which is a Deadly Education book 2.
Yes. This was to come out this year.
In September.
In
like
September.
Next month.
Oh, we're in fucking September already.
We're like 5 days from September, but yes.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, yes. Yeah. Like, we knew this. Our kids are in school.
Yes.
My house is fucking covered in pumpkins. Okay, to be fair, there's always pumpkins.
There's always
somewhere.
pumpkins.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It
I
is.
expect it. I would be disappointed if there weren't pumpkins.
If
in
my
that.
house didn't smell slightly cinnamony or coffee-y when you walked in, it would be weird.
It would be. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Something going on?
Yeah. Ran out of wax melts. That's what I'm reading. There was a book I'm waiting for and I don't remember what it is. Probably because it goes to the bottom of the bottle.
It is.
It is. Oh, it's the one you gave me. A something of witches. It's on my nightstand for after this. A sorcery of witches.
I gave it to you?
You sent it to me. The Nature of Witches.
Yeah. I did send you that book.
The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin is literally sitting on my nightstand to be read. So Lee's a very good friend and she will just occasionally send me my mental health is kind of a trash bag. It is. It just is what it is.
You have days.
I have days.
Yes.
And when I've had many days in a row, Lee will sometimes just randomly send me a box of love.
Yes.
And these boxes of love always include things to keep my kid occupied for a while, which is nice. Because I love my kid. The guilt about not feeling like I'm giving my kid everything she needs every second, it sometimes contributes to the trash bag of mental health. I'm seeing someone, it's fine. But she sent me this book, and it's beautiful. Also, if you take, I don't know, did you ever take the dust jacket off?
I did not. I actually bought it because it looked really cool. I have not read it.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to show it to you after we're done recording and take the dust jacket off. The hardcover of the book itself is also really beautiful.
So what you're saying is I should go buy another copy of this book for myself.
Yes. Yeah. So that is on my nightstand to read next. So it is.
Yeah. It's funny because you you send me shit too, like quite often.
Yes.
And it's funny.
But you send me shit when you're sober, which is
But I forget. Like I have bigger memory when I'm under the influence. Because you're like, you sent me this book. I'm like, what?
okay, but we just had this conversation like 3 weeks ago about the Paper Magician. I'm like, I sent you that?
Fair point.
Fair. Fair. What are we doing?
Oh yeah,
Vices.
vices. Do you want to go first? What are your vices?
Fuck is nice.
It could be. You never know.
Not the weekend.
Thank you. I really actually appreciate that. I am very happy for you, but thank you.
Let's see, what my real vice? You're gonna laugh at this. For some reason, I didn't, like, I knew, but my brain never comprehended because I don't have HBO. And, like, while Game of Thrones was on, the American populace was divided into two groups, people who had HBO and people who did not. There's a subgroup of people who lied about having HBO or stole HBO, but really it was people who had HBO and people who didn't. I was one of the have-nots. So for some reason, my brain, like once a month, I'll sit down and I'll binge watch The Late Show with Colbert. Just to catch up.
Yeah.
For some reason, I didn't realize you could watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver on the internet.
Oh.
And I love John Oliver. And so
Yeah.
I just watched like almost every fucking episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver in the last couple weeks. It's nice.
Yeah. He's your vibe of sarcastic and snarky.
Yeah, definitely my vibe. So yeah, I've been binge watching Last Week Tonight, and it's nice because it's really, things like that are always nice because I don't really care where you're politically affiliated. I care, and so even though I've tried to educate myself as an adult, there's gaps. There's always gaps, and I think everybody has gaps regardless of how you were raised. And I feel like, I don't know if you know this or not, John Oliver is married to a Republican. He met her at the Republican.
No fucking way.
I mean, she might not be anymore, but when they met, she definitely was. He was in a place he wasn't supposed to be at the Republican National Convention to cover it for The Daily Show. And she kind of helped him get out of trouble because if I'm recalling the story correctly, and I could be wrong, he didn't have his green card at that point. So if you get in trouble, you get more trouble. Big trouble.
Wow.
And so she's a veteran, if I remember correctly, like beautiful blonde woman. And that made so much sense when I found it out because he's a very balanced. And I know that people, like my parents, don't think he's balanced because he says things you don't like, but he seems to be, and he doesn't lie about the fact that like he's left-leaning or liberal or progressive or however you want to say it. But like, he gives you shit if you deserve shit.
He does.
And this is a thing I love. He wants the truth in context so you understand how we got to where we are now. And for me in general, that's such a big thing with how my brain works that like it can be something really depressing, like housing discrimination or how private prisons run. But it is comforting to know the full circle of how we got to the shitty situation we're in now.
Yeah. Well, because then you could deconstruct it and find solutions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, I find it comforting, and he is my kind of snarky and funny. So that's been my vice. Yeah, just been binge watching John Oliver. I find him getting angry and yelling fuck sarcastically to be oddly soothing.
That should be like a ringtone on your phone.
Fuck. Yeah, that could be a thing.
So my vice this week is not quite as intriguing as that, although it's strangely addicting. But my mom recently, we're still on the same. So this is the thing. I'm 40 and I'm on my parents' cell phone plan because it's cheaper.
Your mom offered to let me be on her cell phone plan because it was cheaper. I would say yes. Like,
yes.
No shade unless your parents suck and yours don't.
So, excuse me. So yeah, so like there's this family sharing thing, and so she got Apple Arcade, and at some point she'll end up canceling it, and I'm gonna have to buy these fucking games. There's one called Patterned, which is kind of like puzzles, but for like adults almost. I mean, puzzles are for adults anyway. I like puzzles, like a good classic puzzle.
They give me for a year, and they were like, put it together, it'll be bonding time. It was not bonding time, it was anxiety attack time.
Okay. Good to know.
But I love puzzle video games.
Okay.
Like, Portal is my jam. I
I played that one, but I don't do a whole lot of video games.
True.
But that may change because I'm intrigued. But yeah, it's like these rectangles and squares and like little U-shaped things, and they form a pattern, and you got to move the pattern. So it's kind of like a puzzle that way, and it's called Patterned. And then if you're really in the mode to like zone out, it has like cool background music that's not annoying.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I'm also I'm gonna butcher the fuck out of this, but it's like Mahjong. It's Mahjong.
Mahjong.
Yes, that Mahjong is my
Just say it
jam.
like you're a little drunk because we're white and our mouths don't make the right sounds.
We are a little
Naturally.
But it's a matching game, and they have these like little domino tile looking things with different pictures, and
really
they match
pretty.
it. It's very pretty. So I'm quite addicted to it. I
Nice.
played it on the plane ride here like the whole time. Yeah,
Yeah. It sounds nice and chill though.
it is.
Like, the older I get, the more I am finding the wisdom and finding things that just let you chill. Like, not everything has to be productive. We don't exist to be productive. Whether you believe we are the universe experiencing itself, or you believe that we are created in the image of divine creator to reflect that back at them, either way, just existing is enough.
It is.
And it took me a long time to figure that shit out.
Yeah. And then you have puzzles.
Maybe I'll try puzzles when I'm 40. Give it a few more years. Get really drunk. Probably wake up to something that has all the pieces interlocking but is not a picture.
Why is there a moon mixed with a dolphin?
I'm not here to judge their relationship.
It's a moon thing. For a dolphin.
You can hear us getting closer to the bottom of the bottle. Oh.
On that note, we should probably wrap this shit up before things get really crazy.
Yeah. You can find us everywhere on social media at Paper and Vices, and by everywhere I mean not TikTok.
Mhm.
We're not zillennials. I can't.
I'm a zillennial.
No, you're a millennial.
No, I'm a zillennial.
I'm thinking Gen Z, not zillennials.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, my bad. We're not Gen Z. We can't do the TikToks.
No.
No. And when I am on TikTok, I always inevitably, like, I don't have an account, but sometimes I'll watch it just to, like, zone out. Inevitably, it knows I'm a 35-year-old boring lady because I end up on the TikToks of the lady organizing and refilling her pantry containers. Have you seen this shit?
That was the thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. And then I realized at Target last week I bought a bunch of pantry containers. Fuck you, TikTok. So we're not on TikTok. But Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Paper and Vices. We have a Patreon. You can just support us because while Trader Joe's wine is cheap, it's not free, and neither are Audible credits except for your first one.
True story.
And you can email us.
You can.
Lee at Paper and Vices or Victoria at Paper and Vices. We would like to know what you're reading and what your vices are. We're always looking to expand our vice catalog.
Yes.
So until next time.
In the meantime, sorry, I'm gonna stop laughing. All right. In the meantime,
Don't be an asshole.
don't be an asshole. Smoke a joint and take care of yourself.
This has been a production of Paper and Vices, copyright 2021. This episode is presented for entertainment purposes only, and any vice should be pursued only within the legal boundaries, common sense, and personal responsibility of each person. Please check your local laws. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and guests only, and do not in any way represent the views of Paper and Vices LLC or any named persons, nor should they be considered personal, medical, or legal advice. Previous episodes and other commentary can be found at paperandvices.com.